Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Welcome to the show. This is Tom Chesser, your host on Business Innovators Radio. We are here in San Antonio, Texas today, talking with our featured guest, Daniel Gomez. He is the founder of Daniel Gomez Enterprises, a company devoted to developing and strengthening organizations and individuals. Daniel Gomez is an international best-selling author, motivational keynote speaker, in leadership development, sales training, team building, and confidence coach. We are here today to talk about his international best-selling book, You Were Born to Fly. Basically, we're talking to Daniel before. Daniel was telling us that, he is actually on a crusade. That crusade is to inspire and to develop great leaders for this generation and the next generation to come, something that we seem to need more of today. Welcome to the show, Daniel.
Well, thank you for having me, Tom. It's my pleasure, my honor to be here. I'm super excited, and I'll tell you what, you made my day. I'm on your show. Wow. Business Innovators. Woo! I'm ready to rock and roll, man.
Ready to rock and roll. Well, that's fantastic. I like that attitude, my friend. Before we talk about your book, tell us a little bit more about yourself and why this mission is so important to you.
Well, there's an epidemic right now, Tom, and that epidemic is we need great leaders in this country. We need great leaders in every aspect of life, and there's a shortage of people that believe in providing excellence in organizations and schools and everyday life that we live. I don't think people strive for excellence anymore. We tolerate mediocrity in our country, I believe, and it's unacceptable. And if I can go out there and help inspire people to believe that there is another level of leadership in workplaces and organizations, wherever it may be, and your family especially, imagine how much better our world, our country would be.
I tend to agree with you a whole lot on that. I've been around for a long time, and things have changed, and leadership is one of those things, I think, honestly, that has gotten, something of, I don't know if you'd call it down, but we do definitely need some great leaders. I have actually been reading your book, and I can't seem to put it down. As a matter of fact, it is getting tremendous, great reviews. And to me, no wonder it is an international bestseller on Amazon. I was looking at some of the reviews that you got, and I was blown away. And I'm gonna quote one of these right now. According to one reader's review, the book, and he called it Born to Fly, by Daniel Gomez, is a great book that really has me changing my mindset on how I operate myself day to day. My body is just a vehicle for my mind to control positively. It has great leadership concepts that support a growth perspective. This book does not just pertain to a leader of employees, but also a leader of your destiny. He goes in and also talks about, in chapter 2 of your book, he discussed the rule of 151, which resonates within so much that he sent an email to his current leader, citing his book, and she shared it with her leadership team to support the employees' engagement and performance. That rule 151, he goes on and talks about, it must have really made an impression upon him, Daniel.
Wow.
I was really, he said the rule of 151 states that it takes 151 times to say something before someone starts to believe it. In this chapter, it was about speaking greatness into your employees so they can feel confident and competent in their current job. This thought process will definitely have a very positive, exponential effect on not only me, our team, our organization. He goes on to say, great read. I recommend this book to anybody looking to feel, think, or even look successful in any situation throughout their professional and personal lives. Now, I think that's a pretty good review, don't you?
Wow, that's I've never really broken it down that way because there's so many I skim through them, but that is that really touches my heart because when you're writing a book, you have an idea of what it's going to do for somebody, but you really don't think it's going to impact them to a certain level. I think sometimes we underestimate what we're capable of doing. And I'm speaking to myself in that access that everybody as a person, everybody as a human being, we have another level of life to go to. In other words, we can take our life to another level. And it's in that challenge of growing through it and to the level of greatness, of excellence, that we become that influence where you get a review like this. But what I found out, Tom, is most people, they get a little bit of turbulence, they get an extra obstacle, it gets a little bit harder, and they just give up and they just backpedal on their assignment, or they just default on the assignment altogether.
Is that why you really think this is having an impact? I mean, it really is. I mean, to be a bestseller, international bestseller, I might add. I'll put in a little plug there for you. Do you think it is having that kind of impact, and this is why so many people are responding and the reviews are off the chart?
Well,
is this the reason why?
I'm going to go back to a saying I heard one time at a conference. It's a lot easier to watch greatness than to be great. But I think people dream and watch. I think that's why, you have like in San Antonio, we're big Dallas Cowboys fans because, everybody wants to be part of something great. And it's easier to be a part of something and watch something on the TV screen than to actually put in the hard work. But I think there comes a time in everybody's life that's not enough. And no matter how much money you make, no matter what material things you have, if you're not happy with yourself, if you're not happy with you're never going to be happy. And I think that happens a lot of times is we think that the monetary is going to buy happiness, and it doesn't. It's when you have that purpose in your life. Because as an individual, because I knew there was a point in my life that I knew probably about 18 months ago that something wasn't just right, but I wasn't giving it everything I had. Because we weren't born to be mediocre. We weren't born to be average. Nobody was. Let me ask you this. Do you ever go to a restaurant and say, you tell the hostess, can you just give me an average table? And you know what? I don't want a table out there in the front by the lake view. I want an average table, and just give me an average waitress. And by the way, I don't want your special, your best meal. Just give me your average meal. Who does that?
Well, I don't do that. I actually go and say, hey, I want the best lobster. I want the biggest steak, man. And I really expect that kind of service when I go to a restaurant. So why settle for something less than the absolute best?
Exactly. But most people, we wouldn't do it when we go out to eat. We would want the best steak, the best lobster, the best view, the best service. So why do we settle for average in our lives? And I think when you read this book, it really resonates. And I think you ask yourself, because at the end of every chapter, there is a couple of questions that self-reflection is what it's called. And most people, and I think this is one of the main keys, Tom, is when somebody reads a book, no one really asks them questions. But at the end of every chapter of my book, I ask you 3 questions. And Tom, believe it or not, in this country, in this world, a lot of us, we don't even think for ourselves anymore because we're so used to being told what to do.
Yeah, that's very true. Kind of like we're like sheep and we've kind of gone astray and we're going our own way, but we're following, and one of the things that I always look at, my wife kind of picks at me sometimes, is I'm driving my car, even when I'm getting ready to come to a stoplight. What do? I look for the best, the shortest, the best way to go forward. I don't sit there waiting for 15 cars in front of me. So is that part of this concept of really settling for less?
Yeah. I mean, think about it this way. People tolerate what they hate. And to go back to the leadership aspect of it, is we spend our whole lives, Tom, going into a job because our mom and dad told us, you need to go get a job, work there for 20, 40 years, get your pension, retire. That's out the window now. But what has happened is we've gone up this corporate ladder. You're going from rung to rung to rung. You go from entry level to lower management, to middle management, to upper management, to executive. And then next thing you know, you're on top of the corporate ladder. But you know what stinks once you get to the top of the corporate ladder, Tom? You realize that your ladder is leaning on the wrong building and you just gave away 20 to 30 years of your life.
Yeah. I mean, I've done that. I achieved what I needed to achieve, and I became what I needed to become while I was there, but what's next? What's the next chapter? And Daniel, I really want to say this. I've been reading your book, and you were born to fly, and without giving too much information away on some of these chapters, there are some of these that I really find fascinating that you talk about. Winning the morning was one of them. Can you kind of share a little bit about winning the morning?
Yes. Win the morning. Many of us wake up and we live life in reaction mode. And we weren't created to live life in reaction mode. A good example is we wake up. Nowadays, social media is a big thing. So most of us in our country, we wake up and the first thing we do is we get our phone. If somebody texts us in the morning, we respond right away on our Facebook page or other social media platform, and we respond to the comments, and that's the first thing we do right out the gate. So what does that do? That trains us to be in reaction mode all day. So then we go through the day and we really don't have an idea of what we're going to do. So we let the day happen to us instead of us taking control of the day. And when you win the morning, you actually win the morning by you have a morning routine that you wake up, you intentionally don't touch your phone for the first 30 to 45 minutes, and you really just focus on you and your mindset, your inner being, and you get your game plan together for that day. And once you get that action plan and you do your morning routine every single day, it becomes a habit. And next thing you know, you're winning the morning, so you're winning the day. Because if you don't win the morning, you're not going to win the day. If you take the shotgun approach and let whatever happens, you're never going to be as effective, and you're never going to be the person that our Creator created us to be, which is God. And if you study all successful people, whether it's the Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Ed Milet, all these multimillionaires, and it's not just money that's successful, but they all have a morning routine that they do every day, even Warren Buffett. So you need to put a structure in your day. That way you have that game plan and you know that you're doing something productive. And right out of the gate, you're investing in yourself, because if you don't invest in yourself, who's going to invest in you, Tom?
Yeah, nobody else is. One of the other ones, I love what you said in these things, and some of these captions caught me. Another one is champion's attitude. What is a champion's attitude?
A champion's attitude is like 20 ingredients in one. So I'll give you a couple of the ingredients. A champion's attitude is an attitude of winning. It's a winner's attitude. It's a resilience attitude. It's having the resilience. Tom, there's no secret in this life. We're going to encounter challenges. We're going to encounter tribulations. We're going to encounter troubles. And the champion's attitude is the one that's going to fall down. He's going to trip up and fail, but he's going to get right back up second later. And that's what a champion's attitude is I'm going to fall, but I'm going to get right back up. And it doesn't matter if I fall again, you're going to get back up. And when you don't have that champion's attitude, you fall and you fail and you linger there. And then self-pity comes in, and then self-doubt. And then before you know it, you have that victim mentality, and you're stuck in that victim mentality attitude, and that doesn't serve you. But with the champion's attitude, you bounce back, you're up, you have that winner's attitude, and you have that attitude of gratitude where you're really, no matter how bad things may get, Tom, there's always something to be grateful for. And when you really look at life from that perspective, it's always easier to bounce back and to look at the good and not at the bad. Because most people, most human beings, when you don't have the champion's attitude, you focus 80% on the bad. But when you have the champion's attitude, you focus 80% on the good, Tom.
Yeah, I honestly believe that. That's what I tell my grandson. That's what I tell a lot of people. Another one, I'm going to carry on. Defeat the elephant. We've heard of the elephant in the room. Is that what we're talking about here?
No, it's not. It's not the elephant in the room. I always wondered as a kid, you go to these circuses, you go to the zoo here in San Antonio. We have a pretty nice zoo here, and something that we would always do, whether we were in preschool, kindergarten, first grade, we every year we'd go to the elephant. And as a kid, you'd be intrigued that as you see these elephants, you notice that every single elephant sways. And why do they sway? You ask yourself this as a 5-year-old, as a 6-year-old, and as you get older, you go to the circus and you see the same elephant, big, humongous, powerful, the strongest mammal on the planet, and they're controlled by a small little stake. And that 2-foot stake in the ground, which can't even hold them. But since the day they were born, Tom, they get a rope. And yes, as a baby elephant, they don't have the power to take that stake out of there. So they try to pull away, way back. They try to do it. And after so many attempts, they're trained as they're young that they cannot pull away from this state. And now we take that mindset as human beings, because we're the same way. The elephant can easily get that stake out of the ground, but since they were trained as a child, as a baby, to just sway back, that's all they do, because their mindset is that of limitation, and they don't even realize their own power. And the reason I wrote that about the book is because we're the same way, because we don't realize how strong we are, because sometimes as soon as we feel that tension, that uncomfortable, where we get out of our comfort zone, we sway right back into our comfort zone, Tom.
Yeah, I actually can see that. We all do that. We regress and go back to where we feel comfortable about things, and we don't push ourselves to go further than that. The other one, I love these, man. I tell you what, this is just so full that I can't stop. And I'm looking at it right now, to be honest with you. I'm like, oh my gosh, what about the power of I am? Let me say that again. The power of I am.
People don't realize it, but that's actually, I'm not here preaching religion, but that's actually biblical. When they asked God, who do you tell sent me? And the Bible says, I am sent you. But it's how ironic, and it's not ironic, but it's the truth that neurologists have proven that when you tell yourself I am, and I think we were programmed that way by God, human beings, when we say I am, that it speaks to our subconscious mind stronger than anything else we could tell ourselves. So when you say, I am strong, I am success, I am wealth, I am somebody, your subconscious mind, it connects with those words. And talking about the baby elephant, how they're programmed, well, us as human beings, from the day we're born to the age of 7, we're programmed. We're programmed through hypnosis. And the Jesuit, 400 years ago, had a saying, show me the boy from the day he was born to the age of 7, and I'll show you the man. Well, that's true today. Is we're products of our environment. So if we have a scarcity mindset, the only way to change that, if somebody's been told their whole life, we can't afford this, we can't afford that, well, when they grow up, they're going to say the same thing. And the only way to change that is through the power of I am. You got to tell yourself, I can't afford that. I am somebody. I am wealthy. I am successful. I will succeed in life. That I am is there. So those 2 words, I am, I've been saying that for the last, no exaggeration, Tom, for the last 16, 17 years. I tell myself that I am somebody, I am success, I am lean, I am muscular. You name it, I say it every day.
Well, kind of goes with that scripture that says, as we think we are, that is kind of what we become. And if you're feeding yourself those negative vibes and listening to other people and telling you that you can't do this or you're not strong enough to do, I am. I think that's one of the most powerful 2 words in the human dictionary. And I am. I am, I am, I am. And you keep telling yourself you are, you will believe who you are. And therefore you'll act like who you really are. I am powerful. I am strong. I tell you what, I'm telling you, man, you did it for me. Here's one more. Shake it off. Shake it off.
This one's funny. This one, actually, when I first heard this one, I thought one of my first managers in the automobile industry, I thought he was crazy. It was Mr. Johnson. I called him G. And you talk about someone that has a champion's attitude. It was Mr. William Johnson. And I remember going to work one day, and it was just one of those days like today. Here in San Antonio, it's cold, it's rainy. It's one of those days where, you just want to stay home and be hibernating. And I remember I got to work, and he goes, what's going on, Daniel? I was like, I'm just not feeling it today. And he was like, come on, you got to shake that off. And I was like, shake it off. I go, nah, I'm just going to put it in cruise control. He goes, you can't put it in cruise control. You gotta shake it off. I go, how do you stay so positive all the time? And he goes, you know what? I said, what's that, sir? He goes, you got to be like a duck, and you just got to let that water go off your back. I said, be like a duck? He goes, yeah, like a duck. He goes, when the duck puts his head in the water and he comes out, he just gets that water and he shakes it off because it doesn't go to the underlying levels of his feathers. And I was like, I never really understood it. I thought he was crazy when I first heard it. He goes, because in other words, when anything comes your way, Daniel, that you feel is affecting you, you just got to be like that duck and let the water go off your back and shake it off. And when you learn to have that type of mentality, that type of attitude, there's nothing in this life that you can't shake off. No one is allowed to make you feel a certain way unless you give them permission to. And that's one lesson that I carried with me from Mr. Johnson for the last 16, 17 years. Shake it off.
You're absolutely right. That's kind of, like a professor one time stood in front of a class and he held a glass of water and it was about half full, or you can say half. He people expected him to talk about actually, is it pessimist? Is it optimist? Half full, half empty? You know what he said that caught their attention was, he said, no, how much does that glass of water weigh? They guessed different ounces, and, he says, wait a minute, what if you hold that glass of water for 30 minutes? What if you hold that glass of water for an hour? What if you hold that glass of water all day long? Now, how do you feel? And that really caught them. And I think, shake it off. We got to shake it off. Put the glass of water down. But that is really hard sometimes. And especially for people that, are basically going through depression or something like that. How, telling them to shake it off is one thing. Getting them to shake it off, that's where we want to strive to help them. That's why I really like this one. This one's my last. Positive dissatisfaction. Is that kind of like positive dissatisfaction? Come on, Daniel. That's pretty cool.
You were like, Daniel got this one wrong, or something's not right here, right? That's probably what you were thinking. Positive dissatisfaction is, there's a difference between being a selfish ambition. A greedy, selfish ambition is not what I'm talking about here. When somebody is selfish and ambitious for the wrong motives, for themselves, for the I, and all they see is themselves, well, then you're doomed for failure sooner or later. But a positive dissatisfaction means that you're dissatisfied with the life you have because you want to do so much more for humanity, for your family, for the people that you serve, because that next level, that positive ambition that you have is not just for your own well-being, but for the well-being of everybody that you serve. And that's what positive dissatisfaction is to never be satisfied where you're at, not for your selfish reasons, but for the selfish reasons of you want to make a difference in the world, you want to help other people. And one of my goals, one of my bucket lists is, Tom? To buy a house for Habitat for Humanity. I'm going to buy one day. My goal is to buy a house, not just one, but buy several houses for Habitat for Humanity, and to bless a family with a house I never thought they'd have one. That's what drives me every day, and to not give up, because I know there's a bigger call, a bigger purpose for my life.
I like that. One more thing is, I'm looking at the cover of your book. I'm looking at it right now. It was be original, be the best. Be original, be the best. What does that mean?
Be original, be the best you. That's easy. Most of us, we go through life trying to be somebody that we're not, and that's why we never find full purpose, full fulfillment in our lives. So be original, be the best you. Just be the best you. Be you. Be Tom. Be Daniel. God created you to be a masterpiece. You're unique in God's eyes. You're not supposed to be an inch taller, an inch shorter, darker, lighter. You're not supposed to have curly hair, straight hair. God made you the way you are. And when you really see that, and you really have that, know that you're you, when you're the best you, and you realize you don't have to be anybody else, that's where the excitement happens. That's where the true joy, the true happiness in life comes, because God gave you everything you need to fulfill the purpose He has for you. That's what that is, Tom. I
tend to agree with you a lot about that. Now that we've kind of given some of these secrets or exciting and engaging topics away, is there anything else you would like to add about your book, You Were Born to Fly?
It's an amazing book, and as you're writing something, you kind of have an idea what you're going to write. I would always pray about before I write a chapter or do something, because some days, as you're writing a book, some days the words just flow, the chapters come out, and you can write a chapter in a day. But there's days that you can't write anything. But I would say the book is this. I've had several people call me and want copies of it for their management team, for their leadership team. And I didn't really write it in the beginning for a leadership book, but when I do talk about business, and especially in positive dissatisfaction, that chapter. But I would say my book, it's the manual for the next generation of leadership and those learning to lead. I really think if you're a business owner out there or a corporate executive, you really need to buy some copies of this book and really share it with your team and buy it for your team. And I even have a half-day workshop, Tom, to teach these skills and to really, I go more in depth about this, and I tailor my presentation to every organization. So the name of my leadership training is You Were Born to Be a Leader of Excellence. And this book, that training workshop, leadership workshop, is built around You Were Born to Fly.
Well, this book is making a real impact, and a lot of these people are using it as a manual to run their companies and inspire people. I mean, it's not just a book. I mean, they're using it to go by, to live by, to train by, to encourage by. I really like that aspect of it. But that's not all you are, my friend. You are a motivating speaker. Let me kind of read this. Not only do you have this great book, but you're also a dynamic John Maxwell certified motivational speaker who has even the automobile industry standing on the edge of their seat. Talk to me about your deal there.
Well, my background is automotive. I was in the automotive industry for almost 2 years. I ran dealerships the last 14 years that I was there, and my heart and soul was I was a Chevy guy for many years, and but I love going into a big part of my business is sales training, and I go into these dealerships, into these organizations, whether it's an Allstate insurance agency or State Farm, and just really go in there and I love training people. I love showing people that they have more potential than they realize in there. And most people, they hit a place of complacency in their life. And when you do corporate training and you go in there, whether it's sales training, whether I do leadership training in an automotive dealership or just any organization, they just see that their worth is more. Because when you value yourself more, your job is worth more, you value it more. And guess what? Corporate profits go higher, Tom. So that's one of the best things I love to do is adding value to people. Because when you add value to people, they value themselves more, and as they value themselves more, they work harder, they perform better, and they're happier.
You're absolutely right. And if anybody listening out there, you can go to the website, and we'll give that to you in just a minute. There's a whole bunch of testimonials, and there's some testimonials from 2 fantastic dealerships here in San Antonio that they took the time out to video a testimonial talking about what you have done and how it's turned things around for their people and for their dealership. So wow. That, my friend, I mean, if you can deal with car dealerships, or I'll say car salesmen, and get them motivated, okay, my hat's off to you. But that's not all that you've been motivating. I liked when I saw the videos talking about you with the men and the women in uniform, our military. You've been talking to them and high schools across the country. Man, I'll tell you what, I've been dying to get to one of your things, and one of these days I will. How are you motivating all these people with so much excitement and energy and all the stuff that they're coming back? They are taking time out of their day on your website and YouTube to put a video together to talk about how this has impacted them. And I think that's wonderful, Daniel.
Yes, I have a saying for that. And something that one of my great mentors says, John Maxwell, because when we go to these conferences with John Maxwell, we actually get the chance to talk to John Maxwell one-on-one, and we're actually in a room with him. And something that I've learned from him is people of value people. And as I value myself more as a motivational speaker, keynote speaker, leadership developer, as I value myself more, I have more value to give to people. So when I go and when I speak, when I coach, when I train, when I'm on that stage, I give everything I have and I speak from my heart. And the biggest compliment that I get, Tom, when I go out there is say, we had another speaker that came in, but all we heard was words, Daniel. And I was like, well, what do you mean? They go, well, first of all, we feel your passion, but most of all, we hear your heart, not your words. And with a compliment like that, how can you not impact people, Tom? That's what I love. I love people in general, and I love adding value to people.
And that's what they're saying. I mean, here's some other quotes. I quoted one up front, but here's some more quotes. And let me kind of say some of these because I thought they were very impressive. Daniel's energy and enthusiasm capture the audience's attention from the opening moments of his presentation. He engaged and interacts with them throughout his presentation. His soul, and I like this, his sole desire is to unlock the untapped potential in people's lives. That's powerful.
It's God's favor. I got to give, in my own ability, I wouldn't be able to do this, Tom, but in God's supernatural ability, that's where I draw my strength from. So I got to give all the glory and praise to God on that.
Yeah, it can really tell. They also said that Daniel loves connecting with his audience and making it personal. He takes great pride in cultivating leaders and champions. So I tell you, the people out there are just really talking about you. They're burning it up, wanting to, get Daniel. Out of all the different kinds of audience, that you deal with out there when you're doing your keynote speeches and things, which one stands out the most to you?
If you would have asked me this when I first started, I really would say I wouldn't have a preferred audience, but I value all people. But I think our youth today need a little bit more love, a little bit more guidance. than when I was younger. And so I got to say, when I go speak to students, to youth, and I get a chance to really just pour my heart onto them, one of the things I love is when you have a young soul, a student come up in tears and saying, thank you so much for letting me know that I am valued and I'm appreciated. Because there's two things that I believe human beings in general really, really want and desire. We all need that. I need that. You need that, Tom. But even, I think students even more, because the dropout rate is higher than it's ever been, is they need to know that they're appreciated and that they're loved. And at a young age, when you know that, I think it can change a whole person's life, Tom.
That's fantastic. I watched the videos of you at Taft High School here in San Antonio talking to the seniors, and they came back and they talked about how that was something that impacted their lives, moving forward. So yeah, I agree with you 100% on that. And, the military and everything else that you're supporting is phenomenal. It really is. Daniel, it's about all the time that we have here today for the show. But before we go, can you give us your contact information, how that people can get in touch with you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. As a matter of fact, you go to It's going to be www.danielgomezspeaker.com. That's danielgomezspeaker.com. And you can go on my website. There, you can contact me through there. And everyone listening to your show today, Tom, they're going to get a complimentary 30-minute confidence coaching session with me, just for being the audience of your show. So mention that you heard it on this show, Business Innovators, and guess what? They're going to get a complimentary 30-minute confidence coaching session with me, Daniel Gomez. And you can also find me on Facebook. Just put @DanielGomezInspires. And also on Instagram, it's Daniel Gomez Speaker, @DanielGomezSpeaker. And also just YouTube. Pretty much if you go on Google right now and you put Daniel Gomez Inspires, I'll come up. All my different platforms will come up. And I would definitely love to connect with your audience and be of value to any corporate executives out there that might be needing some leadership development or sales training. I would be more than glad to add value to your organization.
Absolutely. Hey, Daniel. Hey, I heard this show today, Daniel. Hey, Daniel, I heard this show today. What do I get now? What'd you say?
Yes, 30-minute complimentary coaching session. And, it does have some value because I do charge for my coaching, and, I have great results. I have I have a 5-star Google review. I've got 5-star rating on Google reviews. So I'll tell you what, I love adding value to people. So if you need some value added, I would definitely love to talk to you. So Tom, you've been an amazing host. Thank you so much for just inviting me. It's an honor to be on Business Innovators Radio. And it's just, I never thought I'd be on your show. And look, dreams do come true here in San Antonio, Texas.
Well, I tell you what, you have really impressed me enough for me to go out and grab your book and mark up and answer the questions. And if you haven't seen this, or I really want to tell people to go out there. You Were Born to Fly by Daniel Gomez. You need to go on his website, or I believe you can go to Amazon and buy the book as well. I guarantee you this. You won't put it down, and you will get in there and you'll think, and it'll motivate you to be the best you are. And you can say, I am. And I'm going to tell you, that to me is phenomenal, Daniel. So thank you for coming on the show, taking this part to be this time with us, because I know you're extremely busy, and really in closing today, I really would like to remind our audience, the people that listen to the show or the people that are impacted by today's episode, we all can make a difference in the lives of the people that we know in our city. The only question that we have to ask ourselves is, what type of difference do we want to make? So once again, this is Tom Chesser saying thank you for being here today, your host of Business Innovators Radio, and I'm saying bye-bye for Daniel Gomez. We want you to have a blessed and a great day.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.